Wait a second. Before we go too much further, Mom, I think it'd be cool to tell the reason why it's called Willow
Willow
Ridge. And we kind of did that little rebrand.
I'm never going to ask staff to do something that I wouldn't go right along with them and do myself. And I think that that really shows more to the residents than even the staff. This is the residents' home. You just happen to work here. If you come in and you're upset about what happened on the weekend or what have you, that's going to show. I love you. Leave it at the door and pick it up on your way out because it will show and the residents will notice. We don't want that.
Sure did. That's exactly right. To go get some
Come
ice
get some
cream.
ice cream, yeah. And it's so exciting to be a part of.
It'll be amazing.
It really is. It's one of the biggest things I think we've learned.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you're having a wonderful day. But you know the drill. Go get a big cup of coffee and find your favorite chair and pull up a seat right here on Around the Table with Vickie. I'm your co-host, Chris Runk, and across the table from me, she sits at the head. She's my mother and your host, Vickie Runk.
Hello, everybody. Today, we're so excited to talk about my favorite thing, which is healthcare for seniors. I get excited when we do these shows because it's really what I do every day. And so today we brought in Patrick Hurt. Hi, Patrick.
Hello.
So this is Patrick's third time here, Christopher. We need to, make sure everybody knows
He's
that
becoming a regular.
he's an all-star here.
Welcome back to season 2.
Glad to be
This,
here.
this-
Thank you.
Been on
Glad to be
season
here.
1, so season 2. Welcome to the new set.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
So one of the things we wanted to bring to our listeners and ultimately our customers in healthcare is a life change that has happened recently with you. So I'll let you take it from here and tell everybody exactly what you're doing these days.
I have been asked to be the Willow Ridge administrator. So I have accepted the position. I've been in the position about a month and a half, something like that. But yeah, it's been a blast. It's been a dream of mine since I was little. Been able to act in other roles throughout the company, but it's very exciting.
So you and I exchanged some really precious moments during the time of your relocating into this position. And you sent me some pictures of when you were back, goodness, in middle school, high school.
Right.
And you had, came to me and told me, hey, I want to be an administrator one day. And even when you're 14 years old, I just kind of patted you on the shoulder
Right.
and said, we can do that. And little did I know that you would pursue that to the fullest. And I'm so proud of you. Our whole family is. And we already feel like that God's, maneuvered your life and put you right where you needed to be. And what a blessing that is for us as owners to watch people that are just as passionate when it comes to healthcare as what our passion has been all these years, Christopher. And I know you and Patrick go way back as well.
We do. Since, you've been with us since you were 4.
Yeah, I was 12 technically when
Okay.
I started as a volunteer. Got my work permit when I was 13 and I never left. So here I am.
Here you are. Well, I like to pose the question, what turns a building into a community? And I can't think of a better person other than Patrick to make that community there at Willow Ridge.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think and we're going to answer that question, but I think what we want everybody to know is that you grew up in activities. So you know what makes all that work. You were able to connect with residents on a personal level through all of that. And then you went straight into admissions and sales, which you've done for the last, is it 8 years or so?
No, I was in admissions for 3 or 4 years, something like
Okay.
that. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a blast.
And so you've seen it really full spectrum.
Mhm.
And when you're in admissions, you see what all the customers are looking for. And then it's your job to make all of that come to light once you sell the bed. And so turning a home into a community should be an easy question for you to answer right now.
So, it really boils down to the bones of the building, and that would be the staff.
Mhm.
And I've always been taught by you guys and by bringing up that I'm never going to ask staff to do something that I wouldn't go right along with them and do myself. And I think that that really shows more to the residents than even the staff. It could be anything, department heads sweeping or mopping, or there's no such thing as that's not my job.
Yeah.
That's not how this goes. It truly starts at the top, which you guys do such a wonderful job of leading by example. And this is maybe the term of we don't do that here, or well, maybe, but we're going to try it and see how it works and see if our residents like it. But to make a building into a community, it's the staff. It is the staff. I mean, the environment, the renovations and all, yes, but it's the staff.
I think you're right on point with that. I couldn't have said it any better. And I love the fact that, through the last few years we've been able to connect and you've learned in a very deep way what this role really does mean to us too, because you're our first point guard there. You're the point guard of the team, and when there's something going on, you're going to be the first one that I reach for, and you will immediately jump and do whatever needs to be done. And I've enjoyed watching you just over the last 4 weeks bring little things to our attention that can make a home into a community even better. And sometimes those are the most important things because we forget the tiny little things, right? Because we're busy in there making sure, number one, we've got staffing for the night. And number two, we've got their meals ready. We're making sure they're happy and all the lights and everything is working. And so the tiniest of details sometimes gets forgotten unless you've got a really great leader that's going to bring all that to light.
And I can't think of anybody that would notice those small details better than Patrick. Growing up from a very young age in the buildings and seeing all the different programs that we put in place and what we expect. I mean, we've already gotten into the day reports and emails from Patrick, and he's already pointing out those small little details that make a big difference for our residents. It shows you that they care and they're taking the time to make those small adjustments that then leads into that feel of that community.
And I think, too, you've had plenty of times when I would walk through the door, you really do know what I want. And that's what's so great. I don't have to second guess that. He's really been trained well, and we're just so excited for your future. And we're so glad God's blessed you with the desires of your heart because you've been so faithful. And so congratulations on your new position. We took Valley View a year and a half ago, and now it is Willow Ridge. And it's got a strong past of community already. We have a lot of residents that live there that have been next door neighbors.
Wait a second. Before we go too much further, Mom, I think it'd be cool to tell the reason why it's called Willow Ridge, and we kind of did that little rebrand. The Willow name has a very special meaning to you.
It does.
And I think listeners might enjoy that story.
Well, when I was growing up, that I had a special tree that was symbiotic in my father getting out of alcoholism into being a Christian, and the willow tree would be something that I would run to whenever he was, in some of his episodes.
It's a safety net.
Yeah, it was a safety net for me. And so all through the years, the willow tree has signified a place of safety and significance and healing. And so we wanted to name it something that kind of matched Liberty Ridge. And so we took that willow tree, which has been, very significant through the years.
And there are willow trees on the back side of the property, and
that was
gorgeous.
What was so exciting to me, as I recognized those right away. And so we took willow and matched it with ridge, and there was no question that's what that needed to be named. And, a lot of people gave us a little bit of flack because we were getting away from Valley View, but we felt like this is a brand new start. That building was literally given to us by God, and that's a whole different podcast. And so we wanted to make it very significant that it had its own special name. So when we looked back in our company history, we can know this was the moment. This was the moment. And so Willow Tree is very significant to me. And then that building happened very significantly. So it just all worked out together. But having then to go off of that, I think that some of the upgrades that we've done with Willow Ridge now, in the beginning, it was a little shaky because we were coming into their home and we were making some of these changes, but they were very necessary.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And I think the residents have now finally, they're loving all the new things now. Finally, we've gotten from first floor and we're heading on up to second, third, and fourth. Fourth just finished a brand new dining room renovation. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what we've done?
It's fantastic. It's actually a surprise for me sometimes. I come in and I'm like, oh, this is new today. It's fantastic. But yes, they did. You guys did the first floor, of course, first. the beautiful dining room for independent living folks down there. And then on the fourth floor is a brand new space for the dining room for assisted living folks. And that's a massive, massive space that they can use for all kinds of things. But that is really they say the kitchen is the heart of the home. So your dining room is really where all the fun stuff happens, from activities to meals to family gatherings to just, a puzzle table or what have you, that just a gathering spot.
Yeah.
And Mama, you've created some beautiful spaces throughout your tenure.
Mm.
And, you've done some really special things. But I dare to say that I think that first floor dining room remodel that you've done is potentially my favorite that you've done
That takes the
so
cake.
far. It's gorgeous. The blue colors, the board and bat, and the natural light in there. I know really elevated the residents' experience of that space.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed doing that building. It was a labor of love for me because back in the 80s when that building was being born, to the community there, it was owned by a different company. And of course, I was just getting out of college and beginning our path in senior living. And so I had to drive by there because it was on the way to Old Thomas Road.
Right.
And I had to see this beautiful building being built, and I was so envious of that building. And now to come back 30-some years later, and God, just kind of put in my heart, it was not a no back then. It was just a not now.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just precious times that I get to share with God and visions and career paths. And it's just neat how he has wrapped all of this around just really a determination to be faithful in this field. And this is not always an easy field, is it, Patrick?
No,
I mean,
it's definitely not.
we have dealt, and we talked about it right here at this table before, about dealing with the lack of staff and how we're trying to motivate. And you're doing a great job at motivating the staff that are there to stay encouraged and stay motivated and keep the residents in the forefront of their mind, because nursing right now across the United States is a dying trade. And so we're doing everything we can to stay on top of that. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Like I said before, staffing is always a challenge, but since COVID, staffing in every industry is a challenge, but especially in an industry that requires you to care. It is not something that you can just clock in and out.
Mm-hmm.
It is something you do get attached to your folks. You do get, you pull on your heartstrings and you have to care. But with every interview and every new employee that comes in, I tell them that this is the resident's home. You just happen to work here.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in and you're upset about what happened on the weekend or what have you, that's going to show. I love you. Leave it at the door and pick it up on your way out, because it will show and the residents will notice. We don't want that.
Right.
We want them to feel loved and cared for, and only the best for them.
Right. And on the other end of that, when I think about a certified nursing assistant, a personal care aide, and then now that we've gotten into having some nurses in our building, even them, I think about the fact that we truly need families to understand the hardships of being a care aide and to partner along with us so that the journey that we have in front of us, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, in some cases at Willow Ridge, some of them have been there 10 plus years.
Absolutely.
That we want to make sure that we're a united team so that this whole thing of care is easier for us to maneuver and manage. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely. Family involvement is 1,000% necessary. It's almost required. You have to have it because we don't know everything. Even back in admission days when I would tell them, they would ask me, how's mom going to do? How's dad going to do? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know them best, but we'll give it our best shot and we'll see how they do when they get here and we'll love on them like they're our mom and dad. But we're not going to know until they walk through the door of how they're going to handle it. The staff are aware, and nobody's perfect, but they are aware that everybody adjusts differently. So, yeah, it's family involvement from dad likes a cup of coffee before he goes down for breakfast, or he gets the newspaper in the mornings but may not read it until 5 o'clock that evening or something. All of those little things are very, very important to make them feel at home.
I would say, and you can echo or you can chime in after I'm done. I would say it's really geared towards independent living. And that's what it's been for so many years. And then there's a small sector of the building that did assisted living only till the first 1 or 2 levels of care. And then normally they would come to Liberty Ridge when they went past that. That's what's been so cool. We had a relationship with Valley View well before it ever became Willow Ridge. And so, our future plans for the building is that first and second floor will remain independent living. And then the third and fourth floor will take on a look of assisted living. We have a brand new dining room on third floor as well.
That's right.
For a small section of people if they don't want to have to go up to fourth or they don't want to come down to first. The option is there, and a new nurses station.
That's right.
That will be implemented really soon when we get up to a certain ratio of patients. But everybody is so different when it comes to care. You can say that mom's independent, and 3 weeks later, she's not. What she did at home, she may never do for us in the facility. So it really, again, goes back to that family trust, family involvement, coming to your door, knocking on the door and say, this isn't working for mom. Let's try this now. But I think what's so cool about Willow Ridge is I can literally go to some of those doors, and there's 3 and 4 neighbors that have lived on the same street for years that came all together and decided to embark on this, independent living journey. They still
when you
park
say
there and drive.
independent living, for listeners that may not know, what truly is independent, and what is AL or assisted living with one level of care or two? Can we define that?
Yeah, why don't you kick it off and I'll chime in.
So independent living is just like living at home, but you're in a senior living community. We're there to help. So now that might not be medical or that type of idea, but that might be, of course, we're giving the meals. We're
Social.
Yeah, everything is social. Everything, your fine dining experiences, things like that. They don't have to worry about going out to the store and getting things like that. But if they do still want to go out, they have, with the activities, they'll do outings, they'll go shopping and that type of idea.
And they can still bring their car and drive, too.
Absolutely.
Some of them
do.
do.
It really is just like living at home.
In an apartment.
So
But you have the
apartment
security.
living.
You have 24-hour security. There's somebody at the desk should something happen. And so we're checking in.
The big part of independent is the socialization.
It is. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
the activities programs, the outings that they're being taken on, going to orchard picking, and you mentioned them moving in with their friends. They're kind of having like that high school experience again, right?
Well, that's the way I see it.
That's
most
exactly
days.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then assisted living is for that individual that really does need an element of medical care. They need a personal care aide, a registered nurse, something that we are going to do for them. A level 1 is we're going to help them with their medications. That's the first thing that comes on the radar for us, that this individual is starting to go from independent living. Mom's just not taking her medicine on time. And so they'll come to Patrick and say, can I get, registered med aid to deliver the medications to her on a timely manner? And then it can go to assisting with meals or bathing, helping get dressed. It becomes all encompassed of us taking care of that individual from the minute she wakes up to the minute she goes to bed, and then checking on them throughout the night if needed. It can go all the way through hospice and end-of-life care, and those care plans change along with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We kind of tend to call these larger campus, these larger buildings of ours, Liberty Ridge. We call them cruise ships, right? I mean, there's
Right.
a lot going on at the buildings. Every day is extremely busy. There's a lot to look forward to. Kind of walk me through the rhythm of the building, Patrick, from Mom mentioned, from waking up to bedtime. Kind of what does that look like?
Everybody's different. And that's something you're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. The buildings are like cruise ships. So it is what you make it. And that's what I tell the families. If they want to be involved, there is stuff there for them to do. But some folks will just come in and maybe go play some cards with some friends, not even on the activity calendar. They've got bridge clubs, canasta clubs, all kinds of stuff. But your day-to-day, they try to steer activities in between meal times and things, because we all know that meal times are very important for our seniors. But
Absolutely.
it's every day is a different day, but yet everything has the same feel, because as they begin to age, we become creatures of habit. We get in a routine, and if they mess up a routine, we're in trouble. Usually someone's knocking on my door.
Yeah.
But it's every day is a big day at Willow.
So somebody has come in, they've gone through the admission process, and it's their first week there. What does that first 72 hours for a resident and for that family member? What are some of the most important things that they should be checking in on and doing, and making sure that they're checking with the staff to make sure it's being done?
Well, if it's independent living, we're not going to invade on their space. So, and a lot of them don't want us to invade on their space. That's when it becomes a problem. So we're going to make sure that they have an activities calendar from the minute they walk in, so they can choose what events they want to do. If their meal times are a little off from our dining room hours, then we're going to need to know that, so that Patrick can get involved and let the culinary team know that this one may be coming in a little later. Let's keep our food over here. Or, in some cases, she may come and get it and take it and eat it in another part of the home. There's so many common areas in Willow Ridge that I'm super jealous of, because there's so much space in there that we would love to have it in some of our other homes, and it's very well built that way.
Well, you kind of just mentioned it. I'm kind of interested to know when families do come through the building now with the upgrade, what's the biggest wow factor of the renovations that they've seen so far?
Definitely the lighting.
Yeah.
Just to be completely honest. Yeah, definitely the lighting, with all of the new LEDs and everything is light and bright and cheerful. I mean, lighting is key.
And that's one thing that, kudos to you and Dad. That's, the stigmatism of senior living, you kind of think it, and we see it. We visit a lot of other senior communities, and you do see a lot of dark colors.
Yeah.
And kind of the shrubberies ran down outside, and those kind of the little small nuances, the small details pouring back into your communities. When you really, a lot of larger non-owner operators, that they don't have to. They're not walking into the building and they're not hearing those family complaints, and they're removed from the situation. Here at Runkin Pratt, that's not the case. You're going in.
I'm going in on a regular basis, and you guys are too. You have your IT guys in there making sure that everything. And if something is wrong, we'll get a text message or a slew of emails from each administrators of those buildings, because you know why? This is why it's so fun for us. They know our expectations. There's no need to try to push it in under the table and say we can't get to it today, because they know that at any time we can walk in and say, why wasn't that done? So they want to make sure they send that email or that text message early to say, hey, I just want you to know this is broke. You may want to send somebody over to take care of it. And so that's what's so fun about all this, is that most of our administrators have been with us a long time. Those positions don't turn over. And that's one of the things that Patrick had to wait for, was the perfect place for him. And we couldn't have ordered a better connection than what he has to offer these families and these residents, which is a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of understanding of where they're coming from. And I can't wait to see how all this turns out, because he's already shown great efforts in solving problems and becoming efficient and making sure that our staffing is efficient. And he has all kinds of ideas to keep our staff motivated, which, again, is a good leader.
Patrick, Mom just mentioned you've waited a long time for this position and opportunity. I'm kind of curious, that first week while you were getting your feet wet, what was there a wow, I'm here kind of moment?
And hey, Mom, Mayday. Remember that song?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, there definitely was. There was, and it was probably midway through the week where I sat down in the office, and because the first week I tried to just kind of observe. Let's see how this rolls. Let's see, because I don't want to be the guy that comes in and turns the apple crate upside down. But it was a holy smokes. Like the little 12-year-old, he did it, which is cool, and I'm blessed. I couldn't have done it without you guys, without our Lord and Savior, and it means a lot to be able to trust. And that's something that all of the administrators will say is, it's not our building. Like some of the administrators in other companies, this is their building, whatever, but it's not our building. We're just stewards of it, and that comes from the idea of God has given us these things, and we're just stewards of it. So it's the same idea.
That's right. And I always say on every show that we're talking about this, that we are not perfect. And there are staff in our buildings that we have to constantly motivate and stay on top of. And I'm not even going to try to say that's not the case, because it is. And we know that. Like, that's just part of the industry right now.
That's right.
And where it comes to be important is the leaders of these buildings being involved in problem solving, because it will never get to this level to where it comes to this office if the leaders in the building are doing what they're supposed to do. And honestly, senior living may not be for every individual either. It could be that we look for something different. I mean, leaving home may not be the best thing for that mom or dad. And so then I would suggest we talk to home health companies and how can we set up care in home. So it's not for everyone.
Absolutely.
And I make sure that when I'm counseling with families, or if I go to the facility because I need to be brought into something, that I make sure that that individual knows whatever we need to do for you at this point. If this is not working for you, I'll let you out of your contracted 30-day notice, and we'll get you where mom needs to be, because it's more important to me as an owner that we have that senior citizen placed in the right place. And if we haven't hit the mark for the family or the resident, then it's now my responsibility with a team of professionals to get them where they think they may want to be. Because at this point, after 33 years, it's not about building. It's about maintaining and keeping consistency in all of our buildings.
And as we go into the holiday season, a lot of families are going to be seeing their loved ones, over those holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, with two admission powerhouses here at the table. I'm kind of interested to know what if you could hand a family member an index card with advice. What would that be?
Don't wait too late. Don't wait too late to make those important decisions, because if you do, you have to remember back when your mom and dad was taking care of you at age 2, 3, 4, and 5. There were times that they looked at you and said, you can't have that. You can't do that. And you remember how you felt as a child because you wanted it so bad. It is the same thing when we reverse the roles for seniors, and the kids or midlife adults are taking care of their parents. There will be times that you have to look at them because you love them and say, staying home is not the best for you anymore, Mom. Let's not wait too late to where you have a fall that alters your life forever. Let's go take you now to where you can get on that bus and go to the music school over at Liberty and enjoy all the concerts. You can go to the apple orchards. You can go to the restaurants with them. I want you to continue living life fullest in boundaries, and we put up the bumper pads, so to speak, in their lives that we can manage them. That's my biggest piece of advice.
I agree with you. I was just going to boil it down to one word, and it was now. Don't
Mm-hmm.
wait. Let them. It's always best to move in while you can enjoy it. You don't want to be at a nursing home level of care, still trying to care for mom and dad at home, when in all reality, we want you to enjoy the moments. We want you to come and visit and not have to worry about, did they get cared for? Did they take their meds?
And that's
All
when
of those
guilt
things.
comes in for
right.
families because they didn't act soon enough. And we don't ever want them to carry that, because that guilt really never goes away, because they wish they would have acted sooner to prevent something from happening.
And I want to add one thing. Maybe it's not just a medical need that you're seeing over the holidays. It could be that a spouse has passed away. Isolation is almost just as bad as the medical need, and the connection that we see whenever a resident moves in and finds other friends, how much that lifts the spirit and adds years onto their life.
Well, 72% of the seniors living, in an isolated environment is suffering from depression these days. And it's a diagnosis that we see come through on almost every face sheet. I dare say there's not a face sheet that comes across our medical desk that an individual is not being admitted with several other things, but it's always depression on there and anxiety. And that comes from isolation.
That's right.
I got one final question. I want each one of us to leave with a little small tidbit or a tiny detail that we enjoy or love most about Willow Ridge. Patrick, I'll start with you.
Definitely the people. Yeah, I mean, it was something that it has come in to play. If it's a good morning, so-and-so, good morning, how are you? Or, hey, I noticed you were off yesterday. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, my son came and gave us some bad news or whatever. But it's diving in and giving to the people, whether that's staff or residents, both.
So I'll go next. I'll let
Okay.
you end it, Mom.
Okay.
I'm an outdoorsy kind of person. And I think Willow Ridge has some of the best walking paths around that building. We just added new outdoor gardens that were beautiful during the summer, a wonderful patio. So I'm going to go with that outdoor space.
Well, I'm going to have to also imitate that. The backyard, I mean, every house has, if you've got a good house, you got a good backyard.
That's right.
If it's truly a place where we're going to raise children and everything else. And so I think we're raising a section of seniors in their latter years with a great backyard and plenty of space for families to come and be entrenched in their lives, to share and be connected. That backyard is unlike any facility that we've ever had. And the willow trees down below is a plus.
Breathtaking.
Patrick, I'd like to say thank you for joining us on the show again today. We had a wonderful conversation. Back for your third time.
That's right.
And folks, if you want more information, check out runkenpratt.com. You can also send an email to info@runkenpratt.com or check us out on social media. With that being said, Mom, you like to end each show with a quote? So the floor is yours.
Well, today it's just a really short, sweet quote that I felt like all of us could benefit from. It simply says, accept yourself, love yourself, and keep moving forward. If you want to fly, you have to give up what weighs you down. And I thought that was very appropriate for today's topic. And don't forget, we have Evergreen Christmas coming up on December the 6th at Ivy Hill with lots of great things planned. We'll talk about that more next week. And until next week, we want you to know that we appreciate you. We love you. We've grown to just be a family with you. And I'll see you again right here around the table.